Welcome back to my channel. This next video is going to be all about what to do when you are triggered. And I'll give you some really good tools on how to navigate triggers. So diving right into it, what is a trigger? So if we look at the brain and we look at how our neurological pathways are wired, we can see that there's certain stuff that has happened when we were younger, where we were installed with certain beliefs, energetical imprints. I talk about this in my other videos. Energetical imprints, things that have happened to you that have installed anchors in the brain. So basically, a trigger is something that just highlights something that is already there, or rather, it's something inside of you that wants to come out, that wants to be seen with so much love and compassion. And whatever you see in the other person is something that deeply resonates somewhere inside your own self and your own being as well. So basically, a trigger is something that has happened to you, something happened to you in the past, and what is happening in the present moment right now. Someone's triggering you, but it's not necessarily about the situation that's happening right there in that moment in time. It actually triggers something all the way back to something that is your childhood. And so what happens if you've attracted something here in your childhood, and basically in your adult life and your upbringing as well, you've been attracting the same situations that install that belief and affirm that that is true. So for example, if you deeply have the feeling that your feelings are not being validated, then you've probably attracted situations throughout your life where you continuously felt, yeah, like your feelings haven't been validated. But this can also be under the disguise of something else. So for example, name an example. For example, you're with your partner and he does something and you feel like he's not even taking me in consideration right now, and I feel like he doesn't care about me. If you would dig deep enough, you can probably relate it all the way back to this feeling of like, wow, as a child my feelings were invalidated. In fact, one of my clients, for example, we did a big process for her around going back to her feelings not being validated. And it was as simple as her mom wanting her to be in the family photo. And she didn't want to be in the family photo, but her mom was like, no, you need to be in the family photo. And in that moment in time, there was a belief that was installed that was like, oh, my feelings aren't validated, or my feelings are not important. So the trauma doesn't even have to be that big. But what happened from that moment onwards was that there was a stacking of anchors on top of that one that just basically reinstalled the belief that that is true. And because she deep inside her being believed that, or in her unconscious mind, she started to attracting the same situation over and over again, where she attracted people in her external reality that will reflect back to her that her feelings weren't important, or her feelings weren't validated. So this is what a trigger is. So then you can now know what is a trigger and how to move through it. There's a few different steps that you can do. Firstly, acknowledge where it sits in your body. So when you feel triggered, can you take a moment to pause and then respond rather than react? You need a pause. Pause and feel where it sits in your body. Does it sit in your stomach area? Does it sit in your chest area? Does it potentially sit in your throat? And just feel and acknowledge that the feeling is there, because that's the first thing. Acknowledgement is key. To allow yourself to feel it is very important. Then you can start asking yourself, okay, is this a feeling that I recognize? Is this a feeling that I've felt before? And if so, can I date it all the way back to whenever I was a child? So for example, in my case, when I started doing this initially, a few years ago, I started inquiring, and almost always was I able to relate it back to the relationship that I have had with my dad. And I was like, oh, wow, in that moment in time, I could show up in a way more compassionate way, not just for myself, but at the time for my partner, for example, too, because I realized that my trigger point of why I was getting so angry had nothing really to do with him. He was just the person that triggered the feeling inside of me, right? So as you go back all the way, then you can ask yourself, okay, is it true? Is it true that my feelings in this case weren't validated at the time? Or did I just mistaken that as a child? And then does that part of you just wants to be seen with love and compassion? Because ultimately that's it. It's a part of you. And the only way to make a part of you come back into you again with wholeness is when you look at it with so much love, so much kindness, and so much compassion, right? So the trigger exercise that I'll also put in the box below, so you can copy it, you can write it in your journal. It's all about acknowledging the feeling. Where does it sit in your body? Can you trace it back all the way to where it came from? Asking yourself, okay, can I look at myself now, this part of me, with so much love, so much kindness, and so much compassion? And can I then find gratitude that this person has now brought up this trigger in me and raised the awareness so I can do something about it? And I'm all about empowering you to do what's best for you, because there's nothing that you can do or control outside of yourself. The only thing that you can control, or at least do something about, is your reaction or responding to something and how you perceive a situation to be. Hopefully this resonated. Hopefully this really, really helped you in your journey of being triggered. And I just did a masterclass around self-regulation where I speak deeper into this topic, speak deeper into this topic as well. So if you want the link for that, shoot me a message, send me an email, or find me on social media, and I am more than happy to send you the recording. Much love.